Hello everybody and welcome back to Clear Focus Films. My name is Aaron and today I would like to give you the tale of 4 different shoes. Now roughly 4 years ago I went to Goodwill and while looking around I found these shoes, some Nike Air 1s. I enjoyed these shoes, but as you can see when I got them they were fairly new. I mean, they had been worn. I went home, deodorized them, disinfected them, and today they are pretty much done. They are starting to peel away from the sides. The upper is incredibly dead and they are discolored. This part has been totally chewed up. I've enjoyed these shoes. The inside's pretty nastily beat up from my heel, and they will be retired soon and thrown away. At around that same time, these were bought in the summer. At Black Friday, I went to a thrift store downtown, a kind of upscale thrift store, and found these Red Wing boots. Now, these had been also pre-worn and pre-loved, but they have a lot of life in them. As you can tell, the boots come pretty stiff, but these had already been worn in, loved, and are nice and soft. These are much of an upgrade over this. Obviously, a different function, but these will be around for much longer. They can be resold. They can be remade and loved, and will probably last 4 times, maybe as long as these will. If taken well, these can last a lifetime if you're not, doing construction every day. So I got these, the winter of the same year. And then the next year, I got these. These are Florsheim, more fashion style boots. And if I had known that these were fashion style boots, I would probably have not got them. They are obviously very soft, as they were in the very beginning. They have a fabric on the outside, kind of the upper part of the heel, and on the inside also kind of more of a fabric. They're not fully leather, and the heel is starting to peel away because it's kind of this, I'm honestly not sure what it's made of. It's kind of feels to me like almost a pressed cardboard. It is not a great quality. Now you might be asking, those are only 3 shoes. I was going to tell you a story of 4 shoes. That's where these beautiful boots come in. This Black Friday I was able to get some Thorogood leather boots. Why would you get leather boots when you already have 2 pairs? Well, for a couple reasons. These are not as sturdy and obviously are kind of falling apart, and I will need to get some kind of a counterpart to them already. And these, although they are wonderful, and today I'm going to be cleaning them and showing you how to condition them, they weren't really mine. I didn't start out with them. Somebody else had already taken them, loved them, broken them in, gotten them nice and comfy for me, and then I just started wearing them, which is a great thing, but they weren't really mine. I wanted to go through the process of finding a boot, loving the style, loving the boot, and transforming it into my very own boot. And these are my boots. They are extremely stiff leather. As you can tell, this is a lot softer, easily pliable. These are extremely stiff. I have only been wearing them for 1 week and been mostly wearing them to work, but they are still extremely stiff. I'm finding kind of a difficulty getting the tongue down in there in the grooves, but they are starting already to wear in. Look at that, that's where the laces are. I love them. I love this style of boot, and I'm excited to make them my boots. But I need to prepare them for winter, especially here in Michigan. Our roads are covered in salt once the snow hits, which it is very much hitting right now as the storm rolls in. I don't want these boots to become speckled by salt. I don't want them to get all dried out and crusty, so I'm going to be conditioning them today. I'm going to be cleaning these boots. I'm going to see if I can clean these boots, although I'm not exactly sure how well this kind of cheaper leather is going to hold up. I'm going to wear these into the ground, and when I have to retire them, I will eventually. These are not going to last as long. So in my opinion, if you want a great footwear that will last you a long time, get your own boots, wear them in, make them your own boot, and love them, because I love mine. Now let's get into conditioning and see how to do that. Now before you start, you're going to want a few things. You're going to want some saddle soap if you're going to actually be cleaning your boots. This is perfect for leather. It is going to get really down in there, but all into like the little crevices of your boot, or even bags, belts, anything made of leather, but it's not going to destroy it with any harsh chemicals. You're going to need some mink oil or some type of conditioner. There are some like leather conditioners, leather lotions, things like that. Today I'm going to be using this. This is my first time using it, mink oil. It is good for waterproofing, staining, anti-salt, and it'll also be kind of conditioning it as well. You'll need a couple of brushes. These are good for cleaning and kind of getting in there. This is good for polishing. This is for applying the mink oil for kind of a polishing touch, nice and soft. This is going to be just your regular everyday rag to kind of clean off any of the majority of the dirt. And this is a good finishing rag for polishing your boot. Let's get started. Now I don't remember at any time cleaning these boots on the outside. I remember disinfecting the inside because they had been used, but I don't remember cleaning the outside. So this is just going to be a good time anyway for kind of an older boot to be able to get some care and attention. First, you're going to kind of want to wet your brush in that saddle soap. Get a nice amount on here. Get a nice lather going in that saddle soap. Get some more water. I just poured some water in the top tin. And then start to clean the boot. I'm going to take out these laces too, just get a nice deep clean. And you don't really want to soak your boot as much as just clean it. Leather is not going to be as good when you get water on it. That's why we want to waterproof my other ones. But you do want to get deep in all of the crevasses. And then you want to wipe off all of the liquid that you got on there, along with all of that soap. So and I am not feeling any moisture on the inside of this. As I said, you don't want to feel the wet come through the leather. You don't want it to, penetrate to the inside as it's just getting soaked. You don't want that to happen. You just want to lightly apply some of that soap to the outside. Now these have been worn in, as you can see, because these are really kind of how I got them. This back portion of the heel was already kind of worn down. There's not as much tread as I think that there was in the beginning. It's pretty flat, but these boots are still just rocking. I mean, I wear them to work, I wear them out. They are fantastic boots. Love them. But I'm very excited to have my own now. On to the next boot. Same process. I'll speed this one up. Now obviously you want these to be dry before you really put anything like the oil on them, because if you didn't know, if you haven't been to school, oil and water do not mix. So while these are wet, you just want to let them dry. So I'm going to let them dry while I condition my new boots. Now these have not been, these are not old. They're only 1 week old, and in fact, on the left boot, put a little inscription of when I got these boots. So just to kind of know how long they last, and hopefully this part stays. Wanted to put it at a place that did not get as much wear. And so put the kind of farther down where my foot was rubbing it more, might kind of get lost. So put it right on the tongue, right there. Bing bong. Now these have not been, these are not as old, but they still have been worn for 1 week. And as I said, here in Michigan, the dumb salt that is used on the roads, although it does keep us safe, it dries out everything, and it can leave tracks in the car, it can leave tracks on your boot, leave little specks on your boot. So I'm just going to give a quick brush down instead of a wet clean. Just want to try to remove anything that might have gotten on them, or that might have stood between the oil and the boot leather. There's like little specks of salt right there. To clean that up. Okay. Perfect. Now one thing that is going to happen with this oil is it's going to darken the boot. It's going to soak in and provide a nice sheen, but it's also going to darken the boot. So just to be aware, there are things that do not darken your boots, but this will darken it just a little bit. Maybe a lot of it. I don't know. I haven't used them on these boots. So you're going to pop this bad boy open. And where's the applicator? Here we go. This will provide a nice layer of moisture, a nice layer against the ice, snow, wet, and salt. So you just really want to kind of heat up the leather, work it into the leather, work it into the boot. Something that I think is funny as I'm putting this on is Matthew McConaughey tells a story of how when he was younger, he was suffering with acne, and his mother saw a ad that you should add mink oil to your face. So he started putting mink oil on his face, and it just got worse and worse. He then sued the company later because his dad was a bit of a hustler, and the company was obviously like, no, mink oil is not for acne, it is for like dry skin, not skin that has too much oil on it already, since it is a mink oil. And his dad lost the case because that year Matthew got prom king, something like that, and his acne had cleared up because he had stopped taking the mink oil a while ago. So, mink oil, possibly good for your skin too. Obviously it's not like it's a toxic thing. Okay, now that this has been properly applicated, and it is, the boot is kind of oily to the touch, it's got a nice feel to it, it's very soft on the outside. I'm going to go at it with this brush that I have to hopefully kind of give it a little bit of a, not shine, but luster. I like that word. Hoping that also doing this kind of conditioning will help to soften the leather to kind of form the boot to my foot more, so that it is not as painful hasn't been too much of a painful process, but right around my toes area, the leather definitely needs to soften. I have a bit of a wider foot, and a little bit softer leather in that area might be kind of nice. Okay, and that is a properly hydrated boot. You can really feel the difference between that and this. Now there is not too much of a color difference, but there is a little bit. You can tell that this is just a little bit more shiny on the top, and I think it looks great. Ready to be worn, ready to be broken in even more, and let's get on to this one. And there we are. This is a nicely conditioned, fully conditioned boot, ready for a long life ahead of it. I am very, very excited to wear these in and to have my very own boots that I started out. These are going to be a long-lasting pair of boots. And yours can too, if you take care of them. Let's get on to the other ones. That took the oil way better than I was expecting. That is quite a difference from what it was before. There were a lot of spots that were kind of showing through a little bit, like especially right here. A little bit lighter, kind of in the back. Obviously those spots are still showing through, but they are not as kind of dry looking as it was before. This is a big transformation and a great looking boot. That's what I'm meaning by kind of the wearing through of the previous one. There were a lot of spots that were looking exactly like that. And hopefully this one has the same fantastic transformation. See, all of that looks just very dry. So hopefully we can repair that with the oil. These are now ready for winter. Let's go back to the chair. Now you might kind of question what was the point of this video. Did I just want to show off some new boots that I got and thought were cool and, you know, pretty excited to wear? Well, yeah, I did. But also, I wanted to say that I think that this culture has become very focused on quick fashion, on getting something that will just kind of last and be replaced, and I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not opposed to it. Obviously, I have some shoes. I even got some New Balance for Black Friday. They were on a deal, and I like wearing tennis shoes. Tennis shoes are nice, but I would rather have a shoe, a boot, a product that I know is going to last, and that can be repaired. Once these are worn out, get them repaired. That's definitely something you can do. Something that I love is just watching boot repair on YouTube. I think that's a really fun video to watch. These are now my boots. These are boots that I can wear winter, summer, rain, shine, and I can take care of them. If I take care of them, they're going to last a very long time. My mom has some boots that she's had since she was very young, like in her, either she was a teenager or in her 20s when she got them, and they are still a great looking boot. So I want to have some boots that are like that. These I'm not going to have when I am 60, 70, 80 years old. These I probably will. they're probably going to last me unless they, you know, get shredded, burned in a fire, or something horrible happens to them. If I take care of them, they're going to last me. If I wear them out, I can repair them, not replace them. These I cannot repair. I have to replace. Just keep it in mind, something that you can think about. You might also say, aren't the boots more expensive? They're a leather product, they're old. Yeah, I mean a little bit, not crazy expensive. These were used and still a very usable boot. Used, they were 35 bucks. Obviously that's going to depend where you go because this was from a vintage store, so prices are going to change. But I just saw some on Facebook Marketplace that were very similar to these for 20 bucks. These were a bit more expensive, brand new. On a Black Friday deal, they were 200 bucks. Normally I think they're like 260. But considering the rising cost of Nikes and just every shoe today, I would rather spend the 200 bucks for a lifetime of wear and repair than spend 150 bucks on something that is going to be thrown away in 5-7 years. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this video. If you like this video and you'd like to see more like it, feel free to subscribe. If not, no worries. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.